I want to thank my House Republican colleagues for just designating me as the Speaker.
Representative Steve Scalise is the GOP nominee for Speaker of the House. His former opponent is endorsing him.
We need a Speaker, and Steve is the guy for that.
But that's not the end of the story.
It is unlikely that we will seat a Speaker today or this week for that matter.
Scalise needs 217 votes to become Speaker, and some Republicans say they won't support him. Representative Thomas Massey says he knows at least 20 such people. For now, the House is effectively paralyzed with a key ally at war.
We need to support Israel right away.
Domestic matters need attention too. A new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics looks at wholesale prices and shows they've been on the rise for 3 months in a row. That leaves businesses grappling with rising costs. Congress can't magically stop inflation, but it can stop a government shutdown from making things worse. That requires passing a funding plan. But without a House Speaker,
we cannot provide a dollar. We can't take care of Americans. We cannot take care of Ukraine, and we surely can't take care of Israelis.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Do you think that Republicans need to unite around Steve Scalise at this point? It seems like there's more than a dozen saying that they will never vote for him.
I do, and I've been clear about that since yesterday. So I went and told Steve I'd nominate him on the floor.
Are you unequivocal that you will not be the Speaker?
I will nominate Steve on the floor, and I hope we can unite around a Speaker and get doing the work of the American people and helping our dearest and closest friend, the state of Israel.
If he can't get the votes, though, would you be the Speaker? Would you run?
Do you think it's possible that he can get the votes?
Possible. It's a big hill, though. You told a lot of people he's going to be at 150. He wasn't there. So.
Would you prefer to see Jordan at this point?
No, I mean, conference makes that decision.
The inability of House Republicans to get their act together, even when they themselves, by their own rules, have elected a Speaker nominee, speaks to the broader chaos and dysfunction and extremism that has characterized the do-nothing Republican Congress from the very beginning. House Democrats have also made clear that we are ready, willing, and able to find bipartisan common ground with our House Republican colleagues on any issue and to find a bipartisan path forward.
First, I want to thank my House Republican colleagues for just designating me as the Speaker. Obviously, we still have work to do. We're going to have to go upstairs on the House floor and resolve this and then get the House opened again. We have a lot of work to do, not just in the House for the people of this country, but we see how dangerous of a world it is and how things can change so quickly. We need to make sure we're sending a message to people all throughout the world that the House is open and doing the people's business, making sure that we're unequivocally standing in our first resolution that we pass under Speaker Steve Scalise will be to make it clear that we stand with Israel. The McCall-Meeks resolution will be our first order of business. But obviously there's a lot more work to do. The conversations we've been having with my colleagues over the last few days leading up to this show that there's a resolve that we need to get back to work. There's a lot of business to take care of. Families are struggling across this country. You know, we passed a lot of legislation to help families get back on track, to address our border crisis, to get our economy moving again, to address the spending in Washington that's driving inflation, high energy costs. All of those bills that we've passed and that we're going to continue to pass that are sitting over in the Senate need to be taken up. We've passed over 70% of the bills to fund the government, dealing with appropriations and setting the priorities of this nation's spending, and the Senate has taken up zero. The Senate has to start doing their work. And by the way, in that legislation, including the State and Foreign Ops Bill, the Defense Appropriations Bill, includes funding for Israel, things like Iron Dome, precision-guided missiles, things that could be used today to help them in this war. So there is a lot to do. I'm also going to be calling on President Biden to sit down and talk about the crisis at the border. as we have an open southern border, and we've seen millions come in the last few years, including people on the terrorist watch list from all over the world. If he doesn't know now, after what happened, we cannot have an unsecure border. We've got to secure America's border. We've passed legislation to do that. It's time we sit down and have a conversation about how to secure America's border. And it's not a Republican or a Democrat issue. There are Democrat mayors all over the country who've been calling on the president to do this too. That's a conversation we need to have today. There's a lot of busy work to do, a lot of important work to do on behalf of people who are struggling, not only here in America, but who are concerned all around the world. And we're going to provide that vision. We have a lot of work to do.